You are listening to Unleash Now, the enterprise tech podcast generated entirely by AI. In this episode, we unleash the AI agent battle between Microsoft and Salesforce.
All right, let's jump right in, shall we? We're diving deep into the world of AI agents today.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a hot topic lately.
Lots of buzz.
And, there's this article from Salesforce Ben, AI Agents Battle. Mark Benioff compares Microsoft's Copilot to Clippy 2.0,
Yeah.
which is, that was just published yesterday, October 22nd, 2024, so it's very timely.
Definitely.
We hear all about this competition, right, heating up between Salesforce and Microsoft.
Yeah.
And this article, it doesn't hold back. It throws some shade, comparing Copilot to Clippy, which,
Whoops.
yeah, exactly. So
A lot of good luck.
we're going to unpack what these AI agents actually do, why they're causing such a stir, and what it all means for businesses going forward.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more than just competition, though.
Okay.
Like, it really is a fundamental shift in how we think about AI, right?
Mm.
We've seen AI evolve from, giving us predictions to generating content, and now we're seeing it, able to take action, independent action.
So these agents aren't just about answering questions or creating content. They can actually do things.
Exactly.
That sounds like a major leap.
Think about it this way. Like, instead of just, telling you about a problem, an AI agent could just fix it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it could, schedule your meetings, draft emails, analyze data,
Okay.
and even take action based on what it finds.
That's huge, especially for businesses.
Oh, yeah.
The article highlights Salesforce's AgentForce and Microsoft's Copilot as two of the major players in this space.
Absolutely. And they're kind of taking different approaches, right?
Okay.
So Salesforce is really pushing AgentForce as like a revolution in customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Even going so far as to claim it can resolve like 90% of customer queries on its own.
90%, that's a huge number.
It is.
And they're also talking about a freemium model, which I think is really interesting.
Very intriguing.
Yeah.
Very.
What about Microsoft though? What's their strategy with Copilot?
So Microsoft is kind of drawing on their early investment in OpenAI, which is the company behind ChatGPT, right?
Mm.
And so they're launching with 10 pre-built agents that are targeted at specific business tasks, so things like qualifying leads, managing supplier communication, and handling customer knowledge bases.
So it sounds like Salesforce is really focused on ease of use.
Absolutely.
And broad accessibility, like really anyone can use it kind of thing. And Microsoft is going for a more targeted, business process focused approach.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where that Clippy comparison comes in, right?
Hey.
So Mark Benioff, Salesforce's CEO, he's essentially suggesting that, Copilot might be more of a nuisance than a help.
Oh.
Just like Clippy was back in the day.
Okay. That's a bold statement.
It is.
But it does raise a really interesting question. Are these AI agents actually as capable and helpful as, the hype suggests? Or is there some skepticism we should be considering?
Well, I mean, I think there's always healthy skepticism to be had when it comes to, new technology.
Of course.
But I think, the capabilities are real. So I think maybe what we should do is dive into some specific examples, from the article and really illustrate, what these agents can actually do.
Yeah, let's do it. And I'm curious to hear how this translates to real world applications.
Okay, so one example is in sales, right?
Okay.
So imagine an AI agent that analyzes leads, determines which are most likely to convert, and even drafts personalized emails to reach out to them.
So it's basically taking over all of those tedious and time-consuming tasks.
Yes.
That salespeople often dread.
Exactly. And it could do it with a level of personalization and efficiency that's really difficult for humans to match.
Wow.
Another example is supplier communication. So an AI agent could handle, ordering supplies, tracking shipments, resolving any issues that come up, all automatically.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal here.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. This technology sounds expensive.
Sure.
Is it only going to be accessible to, large corporations with big budgets?
That's a great question. And that's kind of where things get interesting, right?
Okay.
So remember, Salesforce has hinted at a potential freemium model for AgentForce.
You mean free AI agents for everyone?
Potentially, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's definitely something we need to watch closely, right?
What would that even look like?
Well, I mean, they already have Salesforce Foundations, right?
Yeah.
Which offers a lower cost option for companies with, more limited budgets.
Right.
So, I mean, this could completely change the game in terms of accessibility.
So, okay, we've got this rivalry brewing, two very different approaches, and a hint of controversy.
For sure.
But this is just the beginning. We need to step back and look at the bigger picture here. Like, what are the potential implications of this technology?
Right.
How could it change the way businesses operate?
Absolutely.
How individuals work?
Right.
Or even our daily lives?
So the potential is, I mean, it's vast, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could see a world where, mundane tasks are automated.
Right.
So that frees up, human workers to focus on more creative and strategic work.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, customer service could become incredibly efficient. Happier customers, smoother interactions.
It sounds almost utopian.
It does.
But I also wonder about the potential downsides. Like,
Sure.
are jobs at risk?
Of course. Yeah.
Could we become too reliant on AI?
Right.
And lose, valuable skills?
I think those are very valid concerns,
Yeah.
We need to address those.
Of course.
But it's also important to remember that, AI agents have the potential to create new jobs.
Okay.
Right. And enhance existing ones.
So it's not necessarily about humans versus robots.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out how to work together effectively.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance between, human ingenuity and AI capabilities.
This is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh, for sure.
We've got a lot more to dive into, including the concept of second mover advantage.
Yeah.
And how this battle for AI dominance might play out.
Absolutely, and that's what we'll be exploring in part 2 of our deep dive.
All right, can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
This whole AI agent landscape, it just feels like we're witnessing like a major turning point in technology.
For sure.
It makes me think about how things have played out in other tech sectors, especially with those classic battles, right?
Between, first movers and second movers.
Yeah, you're right. It's a familiar pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about MySpace and Facebook,
Right.
or Google and AltaVista.
Exactly. Yeah. Being first doesn't always guarantee, long-term success.
Definitely not.
Sometimes, the second mover can learn from the first mover's mistakes.
Right.
And ultimately come out ahead.
Absolutely.
So in the case of AI agents, is it too early to say, like, who has the upper hand?
I think it's definitely a complex landscape.
Okay.
But I think Microsoft's early investment in OpenAI
Right.
gives them a head start when it comes to like the core technology behind
Right.
these agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Salesforce has a reputation for building, really user-friendly platforms,
Right.
and adapting quickly to market trends.
It's almost like
Yeah.
Microsoft has the powerful engine,
Right?
while Salesforce might have the more intuitive design.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, and of course we can't forget about that potential freemium model that Salesforce is hinting at.
Right. And that's a significant factor. It could be a major disruption, particularly for smaller businesses.
Right.
Who might hesitate to make a big investment in AI right away.
Yeah, like lowering that barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Could be a game changer.
It could, absolutely.
So, okay, we've got these two tech giants
Mhm.
with distinct approaches, right?
Yeah.
And it's still anyone's game, it seems like.
It is.
But let's zoom out even further here.
Sure.
Like what does this all mean for the future of AI agents?
Mhm.
Are we talking about something that will become as commonplace as smartphones, or is this destined to remain a niche technology?
That's the $1 million question, right?
Yeah.
The article suggests that AI agents are poised to revolutionize, how we work and interact with technology, and
Right.
I tend to agree. I think the potential is simply too great to ignore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I also remember the Gartner research we discussed earlier.
Right, sure.
They're predicting that
Yeah.
cost concerns will slow down.
Yeah.
Many enterprise AI projects.
Yeah.
So could that like throw a wrench in the widespread adoption of AI agents?
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Okay.
If those cost hurdles prove to be, significant,
Yeah.
it could limit the accessibility of AI agents, at least, in the short term.
So we might be looking at a scenario where AI agents become like
Mm-hmm.
a luxury, something that only large companies with deep pockets
Right.
can afford.
That's one possibility.
Okay.
But I also believe that as the technology matures,
Right.
as competition heats up
Mm-hmm.
and implementation becomes more efficient, those costs will inevitably come down.
That's a more optimistic outlook. So even with potential bumps in the road,
Mm.
you see AI agents having a significant impact
Yeah.
down the line.
I do. I think we're still in the early stages, of this AI revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and over time, we'll likely see these agents
Yeah.
integrated into more and more aspects of our lives.
Right.
The question then becomes, how do we navigate this shift?
Right.
What do we need to be mindful of?
Right. What are some key things that we should be watching for
Sure.
as this AI agent landscape, starts to take shape?
So one crucial area to watch is the development of industry standards and best practices.
Right.
I mean, these are essential for helping businesses implement and manage AI agents, effectively and responsibly.
So it's about creating some guidelines to make sure that
Yeah.
things don't get out of hand.
Exactly. Another key area to watch is the continued advancement of the underlying technology, right?
That's right.
So as natural language processing and machine learning improve,
Right.
AI agents will become even more capable and sophisticated.
So we're not just talking about automating simple tasks.
No.
We're potentially moving towards AI agents that can
Right.
truly understand
Exactly.
and respond to complex human needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Huh.
And that level of sophistication brings up another important consideration, which is
Okay.
the value proposition.
Right.
Right. So for AI agents to gain widespread adoption,
Mm-hmm.
businesses and individuals need to see, a clear return on their investment.
Right. It's not enough for these agents to just be,
Yeah.
cool and futuristic.
No, not at all.
They need to deliver tangible benefits
Yeah.
that justify the costs.
For sure. And those benefits might go beyond just the bottom line.
Okay.
We need to consider things like, improved customer satisfaction,
Right.
increased employee productivity,
Mhm.
and even, the potential for AI agents to help us tackle large-scale societal challenges.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. It is.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, I think it's important to acknowledge that
Yeah.
measuring the ROI of AI agents
Right.
can be tricky. We touched on this earlier,
Yeah.
but it's worth revisiting, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Quantifying the value of, increased efficiency, improved customer interactions,
Right?
reduced workload. I mean, it can be complex.
Yeah.
It's not always as straightforward as looking at a simple cost-benefit analysis.
So how do we even begin to measure the true impact of AI agents, especially when we're still in these early stages of adoption?
It's a challenge that researchers and businesses are grappling with right now.
Yeah.
Traditional ROI metrics might not be sufficient
Mhm.
to capture the full value proposition of these agents. So, we need to develop new frameworks and approaches that account for both the tangible and intangible benefits.
This is where things get really, really interesting, isn't it?
It does. It does.
We're talking about like a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how we think about
Yeah.
value and return on investment.
Exactly. AI agents are forcing us to reevaluate, our traditional business models
Mhm.
and consider new ways to measure success.
So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the competitive landscape to the potential impact
Mhm.
and the challenges of measuring ROI.
Yeah.
But there's one more big question we need to address.
Okay.
If Gartner's prediction about these cost-related hurdles is accurate,
Right.
what does that mean for the future of AI agents?
Will they become a luxury reserved for large enterprises? Or will their value proposition become more accessible over time? That's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
We've talked about the potential of AI agents and the strategies of these major players and the challenges of measuring their impact.
Yeah.
But like hovering over all of this is this question of accessibility.
Right.
If these cost hurdles that Gartner predicts are as significant as they say, what does that mean for the future of this technology?
It's the big question, right? Will AI agents become a tool that only large corporations can afford, or will we see, their costs come down and their accessibility increase over time?
Yeah, it feels like a crucial moment,
It is.
If access to this technology is limited, it could really exacerbate existing inequalities.
Yeah.
Smaller businesses might struggle to compete, and individuals might be left behind in a world that's increasingly reliant on AI.
Absolutely. You've hit on a critical point, The democratization of technology has always been a complex issue. We've seen it with the internet, with smartphones, and now we're seeing it play out with AI.
So how do we ensure that AI agents don't just become another tool that widens the gap between, the haves and the have-nots?
Well, I think there are a few key things to consider.
Okay.
First, as we mentioned earlier, the development of industry standards and best practices
Right.
could help make AI agent implementation more efficient and cost-effective.
So creating a more level playing field, so to speak.
Exactly.
But what else can be done?
I think open source initiatives could play a significant role in making AI agent technology more accessible.
Okay.
So when code and resources are shared freely, it lowers the barrier to entry for smaller businesses and individual developers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the difference between having to build a car from scratch,
Right.
versus having access to, a set of blueprints and shared components.
Exactly. And we're already seeing some exciting developments in the open source AI community, right?
Yeah.
Projects like Hugging Face are making powerful AI models and tools available to, anyone who wants to use them.
That's encouraging. It sounds like there's a real push to make AI agents more inclusive.
There is. And it's not just about altruism, There's a growing recognition that a more diverse and inclusive AI ecosystem will lead to greater innovation and ultimately benefit everyone.
So it's not a zero-sum game. It's
Yeah.
not about, big corporations winning at the expense of everyone else.
Exactly.
It's about finding ways to make this technology work for the benefit of society as a whole.
That's the ideal outcome, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's achievable. It requires collaboration, open dialogue, and a commitment to ethical development.
Mm.
And it also requires us to think critically about the value proposition of AI agents.
Yeah, we keep coming back to that idea of value. It's clear that the traditional ways of measuring ROI, they might not be sufficient when it comes to AI agents.
Right.
So what are some of the alternative ways that we might think about their value?
Well, one way is to consider the potential for AI agents to free up human time and creativity, right? So if these agents can handle, those routine tasks,
Right.
it allows us to focus on the things that humans do best: problem solving, critical thinking, creative expression.
It's not about replacing human workers.
Right.
It's about, augmenting their capabilities and allowing them to work smarter, not harder.
Exactly, and that shift has the potential to unlock, incredible value, both for businesses and for individuals.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine a world where people have more time to pursue their passions, to connect with others, to contribute to their communities.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of value that's difficult to quantify in a traditional ROI calculation.
It's a compelling vision, and it suggests that, the true value of AI agents might lie in their ability to enhance our human potential, not just our economic output.
Right.
But even with this broader perspective on value, the question of cost remains.
Yeah.
How do we ensure that AI agents are accessible to everyone, not just a select few?
That's where I think government policies and initiatives can play a role, right? So investments in AI research and development,
Okay.
education programs that equip people with the skills to work alongside AI, and support for open source initiatives, these can all help level the playing field.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the broader ecosystem that supports its development and adoption.
Exactly.
We need a multifaceted approach that involves collaboration between, the private sector, government, and civil society.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the future of AI agents isn't something that will be determined by a single company or a single government. It's something we're all shaping together through our choices, our investments, and our commitment to creating a more equitable and inclusive technological future.
It's been an incredibly insightful conversation. We've explored the complexities of AI agents from their technical capabilities to their potential impact on businesses and society.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion.
We've debated the pros and cons, considered the ethical implications, and grappled with the challenges of measuring their value.
You have.
And we've come to, I think, a key understanding. The future of AI agents is not predetermined. It's something we're all actively shaping through our actions and our choices.
I completely agree.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we leave you with a challenge. Think critically about the role you want AI agents to play in your life and in the world around you.
Yeah.
Stay informed, ask questions, and engage in the conversations that are shaping the future of this technology.
Absolutely.
Because the choices we make today will determine the kind of world we create tomorrow.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to dive deep.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please share and follow us on social media. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube to be the first to listen to our next episode.